So we got two of the NFL's best quarterbacks going at it on Thursday Night Football in a rematch after we saw absolute fireworks in Week 5 in the last matchup. We got head coach Zach Taylor and Ja'Marr Chase pitching in, talking about this matchup. Plus, Ja'Marr Chase lets it rip, gets very honest why he's had so much success.
They trust their DBs. We trust our receivers when we get the opportunities in one-on-ones.
And even kind of reveals something that T. Higgins probably won't be playing in this matchup on Thursday Night Football. So before we dive into the analysis of this game on Thursday Night Football, let's take a look at the last time these two teams went at it in a very exciting overtime win for the Baltimore Ravens. And guys, this game is high stakes. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, if they can get the Bengals to drop to 4-6, they're going to have the Bengals scratching and clawing to try to make a 7 seed and try to make a playoff berth. If they win this game, they're right back in the divisional race at 5-5, only one game behind the Baltimore Ravens. So it's a big swing game. It's a home game, division game, conference game. All those things are in play right now, and it's a big-time matchup. But let's check out what happened the last time these teams went at it. Both quarterbacks were elite. Lamar Jackson, 348 passing yards, 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Derrick Henry went 15 carries, 92 yards, averaging 6.1 a pop with a touchdown. They held Derrick Henry in check most of the game, which we'll talk about here in a second, but he did rip off one big run in overtime that helped the Ravens get the victory. Zay Flowers went 111 yards, Kohler 64, Bateman and Andrews both went over 55 yards. Bateman got in the end zone. So the receivers and tight ends all had success against the Cincinnati secondary, but for the Bengals, they had success against us as well. Joe Burrow lit us up for 392 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Marlon Humphrey picked off a target intended for Ja'Marr Chase. That was like the key difference there. The Bengals had scored back-to-back, and we needed a stop. Marlon Humphrey gets the pick and forces overtime. Chase Brown and Zach Moss did absolutely nothing against us. They both averaged under 3.8 yards per carry. Chase Brown had 46 yards. Zach Moss had 24. However, look out for Chase Brown in the passing game. We have had issues covering running backs and passing concepts this year. Ja'Marr Chase had a field day. 10 catches for 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins, he had some big key clutch catches, especially on third down in the red zone. He went 9 catches, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But it looks like Ja'Marr Chase just accidentally revealed to us that T. Higgins is probably not going to play. I want you guys to hear this quote.
You guys played the Ravens earlier this season. You had like 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Are you kind of thinking they're going to put even more focus on you this week? Are you expecting same coverages out of them?
It'll be a little twist and turn just because T's down or last minute. We'll see how that goes. But I'm probably going to think man, probably react to zone, what Baltimore got going on.
You've had some big games against them. Why do you think?
I don't know, man. They trust their DBs. We trust our receivers when we get the opportunities in one-on-ones.
Do you see probably more one-on-ones from them than maybe any other team?
Them in Cleveland, probably, yeah.
So he's like, yeah, with T being out, I mean, maybe last-minute decision. He kind of backpedals there a little bit, but he talks about how the Baltimore Ravens, them and the Cleveland Browns have played him one-on-one more than any other team in the NFL. And he was asked, he was bold. He was like, hey, they were like, hey, why do you think you've had so much success against the Ravens? He said, well, they trust their DBs and we trust our receivers, and we win those one-on-ones. And he's not been wrong, Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins have had a lot of success in one-on-one matchups against us. So in this last matchup, neither team was really able to get consistent stops on the other offense. Both the defenses really struggled, and I don't expect a lot to change in this game. I think the Bengals are definitely going to play the Ravens differently in this matchup. I think the Bengals, they really sold out to stop the run last time, and we made them pay through the air. 4 passing touchdowns, 350 yards for Lamar, with a really good passer rating, no interceptions. So this time, do they say, hey, we're going to play more shell too high and leave one less defender in the box to deal with Derrick Henry? That remains to be seen. I think they could switch it up and not allow Lamar Jackson to throw the ball over their head this time. Now, Zay Flowers has been on an absolute tear. He's been on a hot streak, man. In his last 4 games, he has 3 of those games over 100 yards. Last week, he was dominant. He's 5th in the NFL right now in receiving yards. How about that? The Ravens have themselves a top 5 NFL wide receiver. He's a little bit behind Jamar Chase. Let's look at the stat leaders here. Joe Burrow has less passing yards than Lamar Jackson. Who would have thought that? Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson both have 20 touchdowns. Lamar has 2 less interceptions. Chase Brown is the leading rusher. Zach Moss is out for the year, more than likely with a neck injury. Derrick Henry, leading rusher, obviously for the Ravens, averaging 6.3 yards per touch with 11 touchdowns. He's doing some great things. And then these receivers, Jamar Chase, 55 catches, 7 touchdowns, 717 yards. Zay Flowers, 654 yards, 46 catches, averaging 14.2 a pop, 3 tutties. So check out what Bengals head coach Zach Taylor had to say about how Lamar Jackson is performing this season and, how he can hurt you in so many different ways and the plan kind of heading into this game.
I think we always have great hope. I think this team believes that whoever walks on the field against us, we have a tremendous opportunity to find a way to win. These divisional games, again, it's always stated when you play these games, we know them well, they know us well. It was a great game. The last time we played them, we came up short, and excited for the opportunity to get another crack at them in third place.
He obviously blitzed Lamar last time, but when you just look at how well he's playing, how important is it to create pressure, and what does pressure do in particular in a matchup like this?
Yeah, he's playing as good as anybody in this league right now. They're scoring 7 straight possessions yesterday, and so they're doing a lot of really good things. He's playing with a lot of confidence. There's a lot of things that are double-edged sword when you're attacking him, whether you're pressuring, and he makes the extra guy miss, and now you got a whole world of problems because he's as unique as it gets in terms of his athletic skill set, but his ability to beat you with his arm creates a real challenge. And so, again, we've seen him multiple times, so our guys know what they're dealing with, and you got to find ways to get stops, take the ball off of those guys, create an extra possession for yourself. But again, he poses a real significant challenge because of the type of player he is.
One aspect of this game is that the NFL's flag happiest crew will be working Bengals versus Ravens on Thursday Night Football. So the crew that has the most, penalty yards per game is calling this game, and it's not necessarily in favor for the Ravens. The Ravens actually 31st in yards against. So they have the second most, penalty yards against them called per game. The Cincinnati Bengals have the least, actually first in the NFL in the fewest amount of penalty yards called against them per game. So we'll see how that plays into the game. You probably wish I didn't just tell you that, but the Baltimore Ravens have everything they need to win this game. Also, keep in mind, this will be the second game that Deontay Johnson gets snaps as a Baltimore Raven. But one factor in this is that Lamar Jackson hasn't practiced much since Deontay Johnson was traded. He only had 1 practice, last week before the Denver Broncos game. And then this week he's resting as well. So he's not getting a lot of reps with Deontay Johnson. I'm intrigued to see if there's any chemistry there and how much, playing time that he gets against the Cincinnati Bengals pass defense that hasn't been great this season. Let's go ahead and dive into those numbers real quick, and we'll talk about, offensive and defensive comparisons here. The Ravens on offense are first in the NFL in yards per game. The Bengals are 17th. Passing the football, the Baltimore Ravens are 3rd, and the Bengals are 7th. And running the football, the Baltimore Ravens are 1st, and the Bengals are 27th. And in points per game, the Ravens are 2nd, and the Bengals are 7th. So in every single statistical category, the Baltimore Ravens have an advantage on offense. Now let's look at the defensive side of the football, because that's where things start to get a little bit better for the Bengals. The Ravens have the 21st overall defense in yards per game. The Bengals a little bit better at 19th. So this is why we're saying this is probably going to be a high-scoring game, because both of these teams have elite, top 10 offenses. Specifically, 2nd and 7th in points per game, but both the defenses are bottom half of the league in, almost every defensive category. The Ravens are 21st overall, Bengals 19th. When it comes to pass defense, the Ravens are now officially the worst pass defense in the National Football League at 32nd. Part of this is definitely the fact that the Ravens are almost always leading most of the football game, and teams are not trying to run the football. They've had a lot of garbage time. Like Bo Nix had about 170 yards, heading into the fourth quarter before garbage time, and then finished around 250 or something like that. So a lot of teams are racking up some passing yards in garbage time. Not an excuse to have the 32nd pass defense. It's definitely got to get better, but that's part of the stats. The Bengals are about middle of the pack at 17th, and when it comes to run defense, the Ravens are first in the NFL, and the Bengals are 18th. The Bengals will absolutely air the football out and be unbalanced. They're willing to go that route because of Joe Burrow and the weapons that they have. And, quite frankly, Zach Taylor, he likes to throw the football. His offensive background and DNA, they're not a run-heavy football team. So don't be surprised if the Bengals, get away from the run game in this football game against the top-ranked run defense in the NFL and the Baltimore Ravens. If T. Higgins can't go in this football game, it's an absolute huge factor. T. Higgins, like we said, 2 touchdowns, over 80 yards in the last matchup, and it also allows you to put a lot more attention on Jamar Chase. I think we need to stay in shell coverage. I think we need to just stop the big play and not, make them earn it, make them go down the football field because of how explosive we are in offense and how fast we can score. I'm willing to be patient on defense. I just think the Baltimore Ravens need to probably stay in too high most of the football game. So Jamar Chase and even Jermaine Burton and, Andre Yoshivash. One of the key factors I think in this game is Mike Gesicki. We haven't defended tight ends great, and Mike Gesicki is a very athletic tight end that has had success, over the middle of the field and chemistry with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I think he targets those seam routes over the middle, about third highest in the NFL. So definitely a part of our defense that has had some struggles at times. We need guys like Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith, Trenton Simpson, the guys in the teeth of that defense in the middle to really step up and have a big game. Marlon Humphrey in the secondary, they're going to obviously have to play better. Kyle Hamilton specifically said in the interview that we gave them too much space. So I don't know if that means they're going to, try to press more and challenge more with leaving some guys over top to help. That might be a good idea because you don't want to allow a lot of space because Joe Burrow is so good at getting the ball out quick. If he recognizes their space, he's going to get it out. There's going to be a quick slant, quick first down completion. Let the receivers, make a guy miss after the catch. All the Bengals weapons are great yak guys. So absolutely, I think the Ravens are going to try to get up more tight and personal and try to challenge these receivers at the line of scrimmage. All right, guys, I'm going with a very high-scoring game again. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to score over 30 points, and I think the Cincinnati Bengals will be pretty close as well. I'm going to go over 30 for them. I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens 35, Cincinnati Bengals 31, and a thrilling high-scoring affair on Thursday Night Football rematch with very high stakes. Let me know in the comments section below your score prediction. Smash the like button if you got any value out of this content. Man, I love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.